Yes.
What a production.
And lots of smoke always in the beginning.
Hey, hi everyone.
Hello, Charisma. Welcome again to the Q&A.
Thank you.
Hope you had a good night.
I did, and I looked up some Belgian people.
All right. For those of you who were there yesterday, some of the questions will be asked again, and it's always fun to see if we have the same results as yesterday.
Well, I gotta tell ya, I was going to think it was Beethoven, but I found out that Ludwig van Beethoven had Dutch ancestry, but he was not from Belgium. So that was I was going to say that I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been wrong.
For those of you who wonder what we're talking about, so since Charisma is in Belgium, there's one of the drinking games in the UK is name 3 famous Belgians. So yesterday I asked Charisma.
I would have been very drunk if it was an actual drinking game.
Yeah, and so because Stephen, for example, in the previous Q&A, he forgot to look it up, so he failed the question again. So you did have time to look it up, so 3 famous Belgians?
I did, but I couldn't tell you what their names were again.
Okay.
I noticed the comic book writer, I recognize the number and Audrey Hepburn, obviously. And then there, was it Rover, the comic book guy?
Hergé, Tintin?
Hergé,
yes.
Which the reason why I remember that is it reminded me of Hergé the dressmaker.
Yes.
Which is not Hergé, it's Hervé.
Hervé.
Yeah, so I'm terrible at this.
Don't worry.
I'm a terrible gamer.
The thing is
anybody out there? Make some noise! Are you alive? Do we need to do exercises or something?
They're a bit shy, it's Sunday morning.
Are you shy? Yeah.
So one is not shy, the others are shy, but in about 5 minutes time you can ask questions to Charisma. So start preparing your question already. Or if anybody, let's change the rules a little bit. Is there anybody up to asking a question now already? Or do you want to have a few minutes to prepare yourselves? Don't be shy, there's 2 microphones.
Come on.
Somebody was willing to ask a question there, I thought. Okay, no. Think about it, you get it? Yes.
Oh, here's somebody coming.
Congratulations. So just few ground rules. English only, 1 question per person, no free hugs, kisses, what have you, and respect the strike rules. Yeah, thank you. So go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you again. We met once in Germany when we took a picture.
Yes.
It was really nice. Simple question. Are you a morning person?
I am both a morning person and a night owl. I just don't sleep. I enjoy breakfast. It's my favorite meal of the day. And I love the coffee. I mean, it's my biggest impetus to get out of bed is coffee. It's very motivating because I love it so much. But yeah, I am a morning person and I do like to stay up late.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, great question. It was fun.
Don't be shy. Anyway, yes, somebody's gonna ask, no, yes, go on, yes.
Oh, hi.
All right, I have a pretty weird question. So obviously you can talk about Slayers.
Yes.
So if Cordelia was in a fight and she had a sandwich in her hand, what would be in that sandwich?
You got weird fans.
You mean in terms of, well, if I was using the sandwich as a weapon? Or?
No, like you just happen to have a sandwich in your hand in the middle of a fight.
Right. What would the sandwich be?
What would the sandwich be as Cordelia?
Oh, as Cordelia, because immediately I was going to go to a PB&J because I love that. But Cordelia, she would have probably a croissant which was like a ham and Gruyere sandwich.
Perfect, thank you. Right, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
A question that's been asked a lot here, but not this time at Facts, is what's your spirit animal and why?
Lion. Why? Well, they definitely like to lay around a fair amount, but when provoked, can fight.
Okay, thank you. Hello again. I was wondering, and I know there's strike rules without any specific parts, has acting as a woman in entertainment changed over the years that you've been in the industry? And if so, could you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I know that the show we're not supposed to talk about was like very groundbreaking, especially for young girls, to have like a strong female role model. And I was wondering if, as on the other side as an actor, things had also changed for female actors.
I think Hollywood would like to believe that we've changed for the better, but I don't think that we have. Statistically speaking, there is still a lot of disparity between wages. I think that we really don't get any sort of effects in the right direction unless we speak up, and I still feel that there is a lot of hesitation to speak up against things like that. Mainly because you become problematic, or you just get a reputation for advocating for yourself. Suzanne Summers just recently passed away, and I don't know if you know who she is. She was in Three's Company. She did the Thigh Master. She became an entrepreneur because during Three's Company, which was a hit show, she asked for the same amount of pay as Jason's the son, of Ritter. What's his name, the first name? I worked with him on Buffy, that show that I'm not supposed to name. But she was fired for how dare she ask for the same pay, even though she was probably one of the biggest reasons people were watching. There has not been a lot of change. However, I think I think there will be change. I just think we have to keep at it, remind, repeat. But I follow the Gina Davis Institute, where they put out newsletters regularly. It's called See Jane, and it follows the guidelines of representation with LGBTQ, with BIPOC community members, with female versus male CEOs in the studio infrastructure. So there's not been a lot of change.
Thank you.
But I'm doing my part.
And I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you for your answer.
Yeah, sure.
Hello. I want to talk Slayers, since we can. I'm in the middle of listening to it, but was it hard to get Cordelia back? Because it doesn't seem like it. She's just like she was. And how was it to be in the room with everybody?
I'll just interrupt that because maybe you can grab that question to explain exactly what Slayers is to everybody.
Is there any way we can turn this down a wee bit?
I'm just going to ask the technical service if we can
wee bit. It's
lower
just
those
super bright.
lights a little bit.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
better.
much better, thank you. So Slayers is an audio drama. It's an Audible original, which means that it's only available on Audible. It's not on Spotify or Apple or any of those other things that you would hear podcasts on. And it's a Buffyverse story, where Cordelia Chase is the one true Slayer and Buffy Summers never existed. And it's also a multiverse story. So there's multiple universes with various characters. And some of the characters that have returned to Slayers are Spike, Drusilla, Tara, who also co-created it with Christopher Golden, Jonathan, played by Danny Strong, Clem, played by James Leary, and Giles is back by Anthony Head. So it's a tremendous gathering of all of us. Again, not every single one of us, but it's probably the biggest reboot we would ever really be able to have at this juncture. And what it was like to be in the room together again was surreal. It was surreal, and it was a happy place, and I felt very safe in Christopher Golden and Amber's hands. And then Casey Wayland co-directed, so there were like 3 directors, but with very different backgrounds. So Casey Wayland was in charge of all of this IP around the sound, and was is the technical director, if you will. Also, he invented an IP around the listening of this Slayers podcast. If you have the iPhone earbuds and you turn your head or you go this way, you're in the room. It centers you in the room. So it's an incredible experience to listen, which I hope you can attest to.
Yeah.
Great. And then to get Cordelia back was, I just had an article come out in Us Weekly, or, I did a thing. And I talked about how I was nervous to come back just because, open wounds. So, of course, I love Amber and I trust her and her integrity and I trust her vision. And I knew she would be sensitive, and she really wanted to champion Cordelia in the way that she deserved, which she clearly did and has done. And I was able to overcome that. But when I was in the room recording, it was a bit challenging because I didn't really know how to balance at first. It's like I got on the bike, but I wasn't quite pedaling right, because this is a new iteration of Cordelia. It's another layer of her that I hadn't played, and I was coming in cold, so I didn't really have any idea of how to bring it about. Like, how do I marry the two things, the two characters, who's straightforward and sassy, but also world-weary and a bit emotional. And I was like, does the Slayer cry? So there was a lot of creative discussion, and it wasn't as easy as maybe it comes across, which I'm grateful that it does, and I'm grateful to hear that she still has her sass, so thank you. That was hard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some very young fans with a question. Go ahead.
What is your favorite color?
My favorite what?
Color.
Color.
Favorite color is green. I love green. Kelly green, forest green, khaki green. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. Why do you like blue? It's a calming color, maybe? It's relaxing. It's a good color to like. Anything else? Do you like color green at all? Is green okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night. Afternoon. Morning still.
Go on.
Hi, a totally different question. How do you like living in New York?
Haha. So, I love living in New York. And New York for me has always represented the creative conversation. There's always something artistic and cultural going on, and I just always identified it as being where artists go to be fully immersed in all things creative. So I loved that idea when I was growing up, but I also very much think it matches my energy because I'm a very high energy person. And I also love being on the street. I love the friction of the people, the interactions that take place, even the ridiculous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I went to New York a few times, and the thing that struck me about New York is it gives, but it also takes energy. It's very inspiring, as you said, but I thought it's also, in a way, tiring. There's always noise, exhausting, always noise, always. So how do you adapt
Sensory
to that?
overload.
Yes, sensory overload, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't have that problem.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't feel that way. Not yet. I mean,
Okay.
it's early still, so maybe that'll happen later.
Another young fan, go ahead.
What is your favorite animal?
Well, I love dogs, right? I mean, I have a dog his name is Cristiano Ronaldo. He's named after the soccer player because my son was 10 and obsessed with soccer. So he's my favorite animal at the moment.
Okay.
Hi again. You talked yesterday about not getting the Tomb Raider role and then Angelina going on to champion UNICEF. Are there any charities that you champion or are very passionate about?
Yes. So I have two charities. I also have a company called MyCon. And MyCon is virtual conventions. And I'm the only talent on it right now. But I give proceeds of all of my earnings as the CEO to two charities. One is called the Thirst Project, which brings fresh, clean drinking water around the world, because clean water is not a privilege, it's a right. And the second one is for the Ronan Thompson Foundation, which is pediatric cancer. So my dear friend's son died of neuroblastoma 3 days before his 4th birthday. And she really pulled me in, and she started a foundation, and so she raises a lot of money to help children and families that suffer from pediatric cancer. Also, she wrote a very famous blog, and Taylor Swift read her blog and wrote the famous song that's also on Taylor's version, Ronan, and that was named after my friend, her baby that passed away. So those two things are the two charities that I give a percentage of all sales by me to all the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Hello again.
Hello again.
I was wondering if when you have a new character, is there any way you approach becoming a character, or how much of yourself do you put in it, or where do you get the inspiration to become someone else?
Yeah. Doing character work is very unique. I would really love to hear James McAvoy answer that question, because I feel like his work is very individual. Like there's no bleeding between, really. I feel like in terms of the character work I've done, how do I approach it? I would have to say, like for instance with Cordelia, one of the early things that I was taught in school was you're advocating for that character. And you have to like your character. You have to find things about your character that you identify with. I think it's impossible to not bring yourself, right? Because we are a product of what we see, hear, read, experience in life, and it makes it possible to play that character. We have to find the similarities, and that's kind of what character work is about. It's really finding the things in a character that you can amplify or diminish, whatever, based on your own life experience. If that makes sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi Charisma, if I'm not mistaken, you're a big fan of tennis, so I'm just wondering who is your favorite male tennis player, either past or present? And
Okay,
female?
so I'm old school. So I grew up in Las Vegas, so I'd have to say Andre Agassi, because he's from Vegas also, and we're the same age and all of that. And then I love Steffi Graf.
And maybe to help you with the famous Belgian people, you have two very famous female players who are retired. So.
Where was Johan Kriek from? Was he South African?
I think so.
Yeah.
But that was in the 2000s. We had Justine Henin and Kim Clijsters. They were number one in the world back in the day.
Yeah.
And Kim Clijsters tried to make a comeback, what they then called Kimback, but age and having babies didn't allow her to actually come back.
Tell that to Serena Williams.
Hello, Charisma.
Hello.
If you went to the same school as Cordelia, would you get along?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think early Cordelia was repellent, so I don't know. But I think we've all met those people. I don't know. That's such a great question. I would like to believe there's good in all of us, and maybe I'd be a good influence on her.
There you go. Thank you.
I'll ask the final question, because you mentioned James and you mentioned Taylor Swift. Yesterday somebody asked a question to James, and that was, if you could swap lives with another celebrity for a week, who would you choose? And he chose Taylor Swift.
He did?
Yes. So if you could swap lives for a week with another celebrity, who would you choose?
Oh, that's deep. I mean, I don't mean to be a copycat. That's such a great answer, but I mean, she's on top of the world right now.
She is.
She's so smart. She's so brilliant. Like just what she was doing with Era's movie that came out, how she just circumvented the entire process and went straight and made a deal with the distributors of all of the movie theaters. I mean, she's just so savvy in business. And I also appreciate how her brain works, how she was thinking, you know, there's a difference between when there are women that are successful in business and there's men that are successful in business, and how there's languages that, you know, for women it's bad, and for a man, and somebody asks her, well, what do you mean? She says, well, when a woman does something that is savvy, a man is strategic and a woman is conniving, you know, and she's just very, I mean, I might have to agree with James. Yeah, she's on top of the world right now.
And you are as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap. Give it up for Charisma!